The Nervii are essentially a more aggressive Arverni in a way that they share almost all of their units, with the exception of a couple, but they are slightly more survivable than you may think at first glance, especially as morale, in my opinion at least, plays a part in survivability, as if the unit is on the field for longer, the more ammo it's going to take. Nervii is a very infantry-focused faction. It has to bring a lot of infantry to really get a lot of value. Its skirmishers are okay. Its cavalry is good because of the noble horse, and its spears are bad, just awful. They do have a jav cav, unlike most. Actually, unlike Arverni, I should say, not most Celtics, because Titus of Raiding Horsemen and Galatia have their own. So they have a little bit of Germanic influence, but for the most part, they play like Arverni does. Just you gotta be more aggressive. Your fierce swords, that frenzy, your guerrillas, your Celtic warriors, and even in some cases naked swords. You can play Nervii as an elite spam with Oathsworn, spamming about 6 or 7 of them I forgot, but I don't know. I prefer fierce swords. Overall, their strengths reside in their extreme damage output, their numbers, and cheaper missiles, but they lack shock cavalry, good missiles, spears, and survivability. And technically missile cav too, but it's not that important, because it's the Celtic faction, and every faction can't be the same, right? But we'll go over them on the open field. So, we'll start off with the Levy Freeman, and if I sound any different, I am using a different mic when I'm recording this, forgot to mention earlier. But Levy Freeman covered many times. Excellent against cav as long as it doesn't get charged. Good for burning towers, very cheap. Siege equipment pushes. Can survive in melee. Probably won't kill much, but overall, very good low tier. But as Nervii, I'd often bring less of the not less of them. I'd bring them less often, is what I'd say, not less of them. Moving on to Spear Brothers. A unit from Swaby that they share with Nervii. They are essentially light spear warriors with wedge. And that should tell you everything. Not worth it. Just bring 2 Levy Freeman. It's going to do more to cav than a single spear brother would, even with the cav counter. So, yeah. Bring 2 Levy Freeman. Don't bring the spear brothers. Gonna kind of gloss over this one. It's light. It's not going to do much in melee. Though it has some nice melee defense.
Warriors!
Celtic Warriors, once again, like I say, one of the most cost-effective low tiers in the game. Extreme amount of damage on the weapon damage. Good charge bonus. Decent amount of defense. Good survivability, good morale, and okay attack. For 350, my attacking comp, I bring 5 of them because they are so good. And on defense, you can bring 7. 7 of them, 7 fierce swords. On attack, my comp is 5 Celtics, 3 Gallic Hunters, 8 Fierce Swords, and a Sworn Gen. Nervii has 2 naked units, one of which is unique to them, and the naked spears. So I'm going to cover both of them, as I have actually used the naked spears when I was random clapping. Naked warriors, you can use them as Nervii, as most of your factions don't fall anyway, so who gives a damn. These guys will do extreme damage, 56 charge bonus of Frenzy. As Frenzy, no matter what unit is on, it is not percentage like Headhunt or Killing Spree or Use the Whip. It is flat 20 charge bonus. And Naked Spears get Cav Counter and Frenzy Charge. Cav Counter's nice, 75 versus large is extreme, but if they get charged, they're still going to die. Frenzy Charge makes them unbreakable. And it gives 38 charge bonus, which is, you know, the first time I've seen Frenzy Charge give a decent amount of charge. Extra. Next to is actually some armor going for them, like none of its base. But yeah. Both these units, I wouldn't recommend Naked Spears because they... I don't think they're going to kill that much. They didn't for me. and both of them are extremely dumpable, but you can bring the naked warriors more so, as they have the better weapon and ability. And just for argument's sake, they have, hold on, let me do some math, 85 melee attack on the charge. Guerrilla warriors, or guerrilla swords, mini fierce swords is how I use them. I bring 3 of these on attack with me as well, forgot to mention that. They are like worse mid tiers. They still have the 30 charge bonus, excessive defense, good offensive stats, dumpable, who cares? Because some of these guys, you can bring some of these guys to go in first with full fierce swords. Fierce swords, arguably the best mid tier in the game at dishing out damage, 57 charge bonus, and they get shield wall, only for 690. With this, you're getting like 58. No, 50? What am I talking about? 98 melee attack on the charge. Good morale. Shield wall helps against calves if they are medium, so they're probably not going to fare too well anyway. But it's, you know, nice to have. Sorry, my earphones are not on my earphone pod. Yeah, I'd always spam fierce swords, even against factions like Pergamon, because don't think Nervii want tanky enough, and you can bring you can't bring enough of them to tank something like Pergamon. So, but even then, if you're taking Nervii onto Pergamon, you're gonna have a bad day anyway. I guess that leaves Oathsworn. Best elite in the game overall, 1350. Your gen option more often than not. Quick drink break. Noble horse only to be brought really against factions like Armenia or Parthia, where you're expecting a sally. Oathsworn just goes in there with fierce swords late game and just murder everything because not much I can stand up to them in melee. And as long as you keep using the battle rhythm and that second wind to refresh the fierce swords after they've used their frenzy, don't always hit frenzy, only hit it if you have a second wind nearby, then you're going to do just fine. You're going to decimate anything on the charge of fierce swords. In terms of missiles, these are all units we've gone over before.
Hunters!
On attack, I'd recommend the Gallic Hunters. On defense, the Celtic Slingers. The Celtic Youths you can use on attack and defense. To be aware their morale is quite low. They only cost 320 though. Don't bring the Celtic Skirms. They're scams. They're worse than the Celtic Youths and cost more.
Hunters!
But that's just me when it comes to what I use on attack and defense. It really does come down to 1, what you're facing, and 2, your preference.
Slingers!
But
We are
both units are still good. If the Gallic Hunters is a little bit of a price, but they're still usable alongside the Celtic Slingers. Very good cheap slave for 280. And this one's like a fun guerrilla deploy stalk. You could do a mass guerrilla deploy with Nervii if you want. Though, I don't know how well it's going to go for you. Yeah. There's the missiles. You want to bring the Gallic Hunters. And you want to bring the Celtic Slingers most of the time. Celtic use X-Fetch Javelins if you're facing something like a Sparta, which does do very well against Nervii. In terms of cavalry, light horse, don't bring it. I'm just going to leave it as. No survivability, no mass, no damage.
Sons of Gaul!
Mighty horse, medium. It's a usable cav unit for 680. It's like a heavy horse but medium. So, if you want the extra speed, you can take it. But I don't think the mighty horse is going to save you from anything like a cataphract. I've got a heavy horse. But if you guys get into archers, they can do some damage because they do have some pretty nice stats all around. They got decent survivability too, and if they waver, you go frenzy charge. So they become unbreakable. You can use them to chase down heavier cav. But overall, if you want an anti-sally force, noble horse is where it's at.
Cavalry!
They can go toe-to-toe with cataphracts, royal cataphracts to some extent, camels, whatever you need. They're tanky, they can tank Peeler and missiles for a little bit. And they are a gen option, so I'd always recommend bringing one if you're going against like Sava, Parthia, or Armenia. And then Mercenary, Germanic Scout Riders. For 440, they're your only skirm cav option, that you can bring 3 of them, because they're mercenaries. Low survivability, only 70 health with 30 armor, but they are fast as they are light missile cav. Oh, very light. Yeah, very light missile cav. So they're easily going to outrun any sort of cataphract. that wants to try and get into your archers or your infantry, which are vulnerable to that, as long as they have a lot of armor piercing. But once they're out of their ammo, they can become rather useless due to their lighter mass, and it's, even if you do charge a cataphracт, what doesn't charge you is like running into a lamppost. The lamppost is gonna come off better than you are, assuming it's not a very damaged cataphract. I would put some army comps on the screen, though unless I can figure out how to do that in editing, then I'll just say some verbal ones. On attack, my favourite is 1 Oathsworn Gen, 3 Guerrilla Swordsmen, 3 Gallic Hunters, 8 Fierce Swords, 5 Celtic Warriors. On defense, my favourite is the Oathsworn Gen, 7 Fierce Sword, 7 Celtics, and whatever I can do for the skirmishers after that. Mix and match, does depend on what you're facing. Now on attack, you can take Oathsworn if you really don't want to take the Fierce Swords. It does take some getting used to with the, extreme jumpability of Nervii, but it's still one of my favourite factions, and it's a strong one too. On attack and defense, it's viable. You do usually want your teammates to take the artillery, as you can afford more infantry, because your infantry is more than likely better than theirs are. So, yeah, that's Nervii. And next time, moving on to the Odrysian Kingdom.